How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the MN Viking Zombie YouTube and Twitch channel. I'm honored to be here as always. My name is Kyle Smith, and here's our guy, Adam. What's going on, man? How are you?
I haven't been feeling too well the last couple of days, but figured it was time to knock one of these out, and Mr. Smith's got a hold of me and said, hey, give me a list, so I got together quite a list for him, and I'd been wanting to watch this one. I hadn't heard the best of things, but I was like, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it today. Adam sent me a list. Pretty good. I like the way you laid that out. All the different platforms we could go to. Netflix is probably the easiest for me.
And honestly, right now, if you like horror comedies, there's a lot of them out right now, and a lot of those movies on the list I gave you are horror comedies, and I love those.
Oh yeah, I can always get down with those. I think my favorite one that brought me into the genre, like really sucked me in, was Zombieland. I don't know, that's one of your specialties.
For me, it was probably either like Shaun of the Dead or
Good one.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Those are two great
Man,
ones.
I remember watching those just by chance. You get really bored when you're overseas in the military, and you'll put on anything to pass time. And I remember seeing both of those in another country of all places, but they were very good.
And if you're bored, you'll throw on something like Zombievers.
I don't know if I've heard of that. I have to check it out. So many things I got to get to. Adam's always good to help me, widen my range of things. And no different here. I think you sent me like 8 or 9, maybe 10 suggestions. Netflix was the choice. It's a lot easier for me. This one is time cut from last year in 2024. I'm excited to talk about it. So, yeah, let's jump in. I only know one of these actors. Spoiler alert, there's always going to be spoilers in these reviews, but the bad guy, which I was wrong on guessing, Mr. Griffin Gluck, which is a crazy name. But yeah, I've seen him in another movie. I can't remember where, when he was much younger, and it's really weird. It makes me feel older when I see these actors and actresses that I remember them being a child actor, and now they're like at least old enough to drive and or vote, and I'm like, I don't like that feeling. Time is running away from me. But yeah, I remember him. I don't remember anyone else in this cast. So these were all new characters and faces for me. But let's jump into it, man. Basically,
All right, I do have to ask you something, though, before we start talking a little bit too much about this movie.
Sure.
Have you seen the Prime Video movie Totally Killer?
I have not.
Because this is almost exactly that movie.
Oh, that's funny. I wonder if they did it on purpose.
Except
or
Totally
it just
Killer is
happened to be-
80s.
Oh, yeah. So they had to have known about it somewhat. Huh. Interesting. No, I'd love to look that up.
I think I enjoyed that one a little bit more, just because it was a little bit more on the adult side. This
I'm
was
glad
more
you
of a
said that.
teen slasher horror thing, which was fine, but not really what I was expecting.
I'm glad you said that, Adam. I have feelings about this movie, and it's only because I'm a crusty old man that wants to have. The more I think about it, the more I need to be better about this. I'm the guy that'll go to the same restaurant until I get sick of it, and it's no different with movies. That there's a certain type that I will always give a chance to. Usually for me, it's like the spiritual thrillers and stuff like that. This one feels like as a baseline, as like a Disney attempt at a horror movie. And I understand that the cast is younger. It's not going to be your classics like A Nightmare on Elm Street or The Exorcist. It's not going to be anything like that. But we've enjoyed these teen-based horrors before. I mean, we did the
Right.
what are the three
Like
that we
Fear
started
Street
out?
was great.
Fear Street was amazing. I love those. I'll tell you right off the bat, I didn't enjoy this one as much, but I did, kind of like the opposite of some of the movies we talk about, I did enjoy the actors and the actresses very much. I just didn't think the plot was as interesting. But I think the overall theme of the movie is interesting, so I'll give that up front right here. The main character is played by Madison Bailey. Her name is Lucy. And I guess her co-main character would be Summer, played by Antonia Gentry. These are sisters, and one sister is murdered in the early 2000s, which made me feel really old, how they referenced this as like a throwback in a time travel movie. I didn't like that at all. But yeah, she goes back in time to try to save her sister, and it's a cool idea. When you throw that out at the very beginning, that's fine. Obviously, it's not based in reality, but I do like the idea of trying to stretch your imagination with this specific genre. But man, there was some cheesy dialogue in this movie. It was kind of tough to get through at times, but I
And
really
a lot of parts
enjoyed.
of the story, if you actually like take it apart and think about it,
Mhm.
makes absolutely no sense.
Right. Well, let's start. Summer is the slain sister in the beginning, and you see her running around in a typical. I mean, they really do have to pull something new out of the pot here. Either a car breaking down on the side of the road, or investigating a strange noise, or you're at a party. Every time I hear the party thing, I always think of Randy and Scream. It's like somebody's going to die here for sure. And unfortunately, Summer is targeted. She leaves a party, and she ends up dying in the beginning of the movie. But in a cool twist, and obviously we spoiled it for you already. Once a character dies, you think that's usually it. Now you get to see a lot more of her in the movie as it goes along. There's only a little lull where her character isn't there. By a masked killer. These masks are always pretty cool to me because it represents like the face in the Purge, and it's supposed to be kind of anonymous, so you don't really know who it is. Immediately, I don't know if you do this, Adam, but in these movies where there's a mask, I immediately judge the body type to look for the killer,
Oh yeah.
and I don't know that this one lined up as well for me because I don't think it's the same. Kind of my gripes and complaints in the Scream 5 in
Did you
having.
think it was weird that this movie is set like 2 weeks from now?
Oh, now that you say that, that's funny. No, I didn't notice it. Now that you say it, yeah, in early April. That is weird. I don't really remember the significance. I know it's the end of the year, and they
It
reference
wasn't
high
like
school a
April
lot.
18th or something that she went back in time from.
That's right, all the way back to 2003. How old were you, and where were you in 2003?
2003. I was probably drunk in some guy's field. I'm thinking probably, or out at a camp somewhere. Who knows?
2002. I probably 2003. I was 15. Yeah. So this was in the thick of my heyday, and I caught the references really quick. Avril Lavigne playing, all the style, and you look back and you're like, "Yep, that was bad. We thought it was cool then, and it really wasn't." Um, yeah, they go back in time. What did they say? 20 years, and after Summer is killed, there's a lot of questions. The parents in the movie, they are played by Rachel Crawford, and I'm trying to find the dad here. Is that him? Yeah, that's him. Michael Shanks plays Gil. They are very cold to their younger daughter, Lucy, the main character. They're referencing a lot of stuff about their daughter who died Summer, and it was, you can even see with the filmography about how the picture is kind of gray and dull, and it's a lot brighter when Summer is around. So obviously, losing a child will give that feeling to you. But yeah, some cold parents. They were remembering their slain daughter. I think the anniversary was coming up, and then um, going into the movie, Lucy is. You can clearly see, and they actually vocalize it for you. They'll give you this on a silver platter here, but she's trying to get the recognition and love from her parents, and it's just kind of half-assed, if I could say it that way. And she's actually got an internship to NASA, which is really cool for a high school student to have. And their parents are, they find a way to critique it, or they find a way to not enjoy it, which is it's kind of crazy. You feel bad for the character there.
Well, I get them, after losing their first daughter, not wanting the second one to go too far from home. But
Yep.
when their first daughter was killed right at home, there, I mean, maybe getting away isn't the worst.
Yeah, that's the bittersweet juxtaposition of this movie is, the parents are probably always constantly reminded with another daughter of the one they lost. We want to keep you close. We've already lost one, but for the daughter, you've got to think about for her. She's like, this is a small town. My sister died here. It's weird. It's always looming. Maybe I need to get away from it. So, for that to be built in the plot, I think that was the most deep and intelligent part of the plot was, a high school kid trying to navigate this. I know that I certainly wasn't capable of navigating feelings like that at such a level when I was her age, but it seems like they kind of, heighten it and up it up a little bit in movies. But she did a great job. I think Madison Bailey has a future in acting for sure. Trying to see how old she is too, where she's at as far as her career and credits. We'll pull those up. But yeah, she goes out to the barn. I think it was. They were paying respects on the day that her sister died, and I guess they bring gifts in this movie to her to try to keep her spirit alive and to communicate with her in some way to make them feel better. And she doesn't have anything. She forgot it. She says, "No, no, I forgot something in the barn. I'll go grab it." And she ends up activating this hidden time machine in her barn, and it takes her back to the school spot 20
Because
years
that
prior.
makes sense, right?
Right. Yeah. I just haven't seen this forever, but magically, when we're talking about this one point that has everything to do with the movie, I magically find this thing, and I wasn't nosy enough before. Yeah.
And it's all functioning and great and good to go and all that.
Yeah, it functions first try, and then she magically sticks around to, like, if I was doing this, I thought about this, Adam, when it happened. I'm like, I'm not standing. I'm going to hit the button and I'm going to run to the other end of the barn, so I'm not in the path of anything. But of
Yeah,
course,
those
for the
lasers
movie,
would have scared the heck out of me.
yeah. Cool contraption though for a time machine. Every time anybody says anything about a time machine, my stupid brain goes back to Austin Powers, and there's just a big spinning spiral wheel. So this is a cool concept. But yeah, takes her back to the same exact spot. I think 20 to 21 years before, and you're in the thick of 2003. Like I said earlier, the soundtrack's playing, the music is on par, the outfits are on par. And what I thought was weird is if in this time, if you are Summer, the girl who was killed in the movie, you wouldn't know what your younger sibling would look like. But for us, it's so obvious as the audience to be like, you don't think that person looks familiar? She looks kind of just like you. But they pass along. And then the other part is, how does no one have a record of this girl who just starts going to school at the end of the year? Like, I shouldn't critique these things, but I can't help my intrusive thoughts that come in. But I did think of the complexity of the situation in this movie, of how crazy it would have been to see your sister that died in person as she walks by you, and she has no idea who you are. Because you have to remember, too, in this movie, Lucy is trying to keep a low profile, and is trying to figure this out kind of under the radar, but it's really hard to do when you're in the middle of the situation and the people that are directly involved at what you're trying to fix. I don't have your stream up here. I'm not sure if you froze or not. Let's check. Okay, it's a little frozen on my end. I apologize. We're going to keep going. But yeah, Lucy, like I said, was played by Madison Bailey, and Summer, her sister. They are, they're going around together, and they don't know who each other are right at the moment. You see what I really revealed earlier as the killer, Quinn, played by Griffin Gluck. He is the nerdy romance character in this movie, and it's really cool. I think he showed a little more depth and range than what I saw last time. Obviously, he was younger the last time I saw him. But, yeah, you kind of feel for him. There's always usually that one nerdy guy who likes the pretty girl that's never going to get her. This is pretty obvious in this movie. Quinn and Lucy become friends, and they kind of team up together to try to figure out what's going on because they have a common interest. There's a common humanity between the two of them because Lucy's a good person. Quinn is getting picked on by the bully in school. They were actually going to throw him into a river, which was crazy. That's a thing. I can remember hazing back in high school in my day, which isn't fun, and it's definitely not cool. But she comes to his rescue at a pretty pivotal scene in the movie. It's actually pivotal for the rest of the story and what would have been. But in this timeline, Quinn is saved by Lucy. She punches the bully and pushes him down, played by Samuel Braun. He's Ethan, or E, as he's referred to in the movie. And, yeah, it was pretty crazy. I remember it's cool they kind of push this, and I don't want to call it a narrative because it's not a negative thing that I'm saying here, but they push for a female being strong and standing up to a male. And it's kind of like in a movie back then, 20, 25 years ago, you would never see this. And now it's pretty common, and it's a lot like, these girls can do this too. So I thought that didn't go unnoticed, Netflix. And to the director here, who's the director of this movie? Hannah McPherson. I see you. I see you with that, and I see the women can do things too here. So I appreciate that. Going forward, hopefully Adam will join us back in here again. I don't want to do this whole thing without him. Yeah, going forward from there, Quinn and Lucy kind of team up. And you got to think in the timeline, Lucy just shows up. She's kind of a drifter, kind of a loner. She's trying to hide these characteristics about herself and revealing that she is Summer's sister. But How long can she hang on to that? We don't know. So you find out in the movie she becomes closer with Quinn, and trying to see if Adam is going to get back on here. I apologize. Give me just a couple of moments of radio silence. If not, we'll have to do this over. That would not be cool, but we might have to. Time cut 2024. All right, I'm going to make a command decision here. We're going to go back and do this again if Adam doesn't pop on here in the next few seconds. So